Airlines flight has collided mid-air with a helicopter, a military helicopter, in Washington, D.C. The U.S. Federal Aviation Administration said it happened whilst on approach to runway 33.
Where's the alert 3?
It is off the approach end of runway 33. Approach end of runway 33. Helicopter crash. Crash. This is alert 3. 2 helicopters.
This is Jason Martinez here in the Fox 29 newsroom. You are looking at what's being described as a plane crash in Northeast Philadelphia. This is doorbell camera provided by a viewer left of your screen.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you, wherever you are listening from around the world. Welcome to the Mr. Freemason channel, and thank you for joining me for yet another live stream. I hope you're all doing well, and before we start the show, let's do our usual roll call. So wherever you're listening in from, if you drop down in the chat box section where you're listening from, and we will get set up ready for the show. So I'd like to welcome you all to the show again. Today's stream and topics that we will be covering is the sad, tragic loss of the Brazilian adult star who lost her life from a balcony in Rio de Janeiro. Obviously, the Washington, D.C. helicopter and plane crash. The Philadelphia plane crash. Some of the Simpsons predictions. And the agenda and the motive for why this all might be happening. So on the channel, we like to break down news articles, also rituals, Freemasonry, occult, symbolism, and numerology, astrology, which is what we are going to be covering in the news articles today. I will be covering another live stream, hopefully tomorrow, with regards to the subject that I got asked, I believe, by Wiz, one of the viewers and subscribers, who asked about cloning and ancient history with celebrity figures that are around these days, and also ancient history figures that existed back in the time, and how the similarities and connection to them. So shout out to Wiz, shout out to Gail Hale in the chat section. Thank you for joining me in the live stream. I hope you're all doing well. This is going to be a very interesting stream, and for the sole reason of being fact of it's only February 2025 and so much has gone on so far. Now, when we cover the news and crime articles, or if you'd like to call them crime articles, they're obviously sad, tragic accidents, but when you see the numbers that are involved, it's kind of not just a natural accident, there's a lot more to it. So we'll be covering the numbers involved in that, and also taking a look back with regards to the January the 1st attacks, which was the Tesla outside Donald Trump's hotel, and the other one was in New Orleans. And when we go through the numbers with regards to Washington, D.C. helicopter and plane crash, and also the Philadelphia one, you will see how they match up with the ones that happened on January the 1st, all through the numbers. So good evening to Exotic Doll and also Betty Boo. Thank you for also joining us at the channel. I hope you're doing well. We've got a very interesting live stream for you this evening, so I'm going to jump straight into it in a minute. So if you just missed the beginning, we're covering the Brazilian adult star who lost her life from a balcony in Rio de Janeiro, the Washington, D.C. helicopter plane crash, the Philadelphia plane crash, the Simpsons predictions, and also why this all might be happening. Because I think the reason and the agenda behind it is not what you would expect, or you would not see just by these events that have happened, until you kind of understand the motive behind, and then it all kind of comes clear. So with that being said, we'll jump straight into the video and get on straight with today's live stream show. So we will be looking at The Simpsons, but that will be towards more of the end of the live stream. But first of all, we're going to cover the Brazilian adult star who lost her life. Now, this story actually happened, and the event actually happened to this poor woman last month, I believe, back in January. But for some strange reason, they've only just decided to release this story. Now, as we know here at the channel, that they don't just release certain articles, or news items into the public without it reflecting the numbers or for a certain purpose. Some could call it the matrix, some could call it codes. We like to call it numerology astrology here. So she was a young lady who lost her life. The numbers that I'll run through, just in case you're new here at the channel, that come up in the news articles on a daily occurrence, and the number 3, the number 6, the number 9, the number 11, the number 13, the Master Masons, the Freemasons number 19, number 22, number 23, and finally number 33. So I'll give you a quick example of how these numbers do come up before I progress. So Nicola Bulley, the woman that lost her life in Lancashire, she was actually found on 19th of February. Then you had Jay Slater, who went missing in Tenerife last year. He was aged 19. So that's just an example of just 2 cases, and there's plenty more, even with the Gaynor Lord case that also matches up with numbers. So the story that we were told with regards to the Brazilian adult star is that she fell from a balcony, and she was actually, should we say, recording material and content for her channel. I believe she's an OnlyFans star as well. Now, this story was released on the 30th of January, and it was also updated on the 30th of January. So if you drop the 0 off, that will leave you with your first 3. You could also say this is a 33 because they're published and so quite close together. I find it a bit coincidental that the story was released and then updated only literally probably less than 20 minutes later, which seems a bit peculiar, but there we go. So referring back to the numbers, so she was in the process of allegedly filming a threesome. So there's your first number 3. It was with 2 men. Now, the number 2 and the number 3 are going to come into play here again with regards to the number 23, and you'll see why. So she lost her life on January the 23rd of 2025. So January this year, she lost her life on the 23rd. She was also aged 23. They didn't give a reason as to why this story was only released several weeks later and not on the day or the day after. There's been given no account as to why. As you can see from yourselves from the pictures in front of you, she was 23. She lost her life on the 23rd. So she was in the process of filming a threesome with 2 men. So there's your other 23, 2 and a 3. So the 2 men and the threesome. So there's your other 23. So we will move on to the main topic that I know most of you are interested in, which is the Washington, D.C. helicopter crash and plane crash.
American.
We'll look at the news article first, and it will tell you the numbers if you haven't spotted them already. And also with reference to the runway that was used and the number of it, there's another link with regards to the airport that the plane was supposed to land at, which was Ronald Reagan Airport.
Airlines flight has collided mid-air with a military helicopter in Washington, D.C. The U.S. Federal Aviation Administration said it happened whilst on approach to runway 33.
Destiny into the stars, launching America.
So it was runway 33. The plane was coming in to land at Ronald Reagan Airport. Ronald Reagan was also the 33rd president. When we look into the names of Donald Trump, and the nicknames given to the American company in charge of the planes, who were American Airlines, things start to become a bit more clearer. So Washington, D.C. to start with actually has 12 letters. 1 and 2 equals 3. So there's your first 3 with regards to that story. It happened on the 29th of January 2025. Well, 2 plus the 9 equals 11. Now, 11 also refers to the attacks that happened on the 1st of January with Donald Trump's hotel and the Tesla truck, and also the New Orleans attack. So if you haven't already, go back and watch them streams, and you will see how the number 1 and number 11 are very prevalent in them stories. So going back to the numbers in the Washington, D.C. helicopter and plane crash, there's a nickname that Donald Trump is known by, and we'll cover that in a minute. There is also a nickname that's been attached to American Airlines, and we will cover that as well. And you will see that this all ties in to the Super Bowl, which I believe is not very far away. And strangely enough, I believe Kendrick Lamar is performing there, and he's performing his Drake song, Not Like Us, which from the word on the grapevine is Drake's going to be next after P. Diddy, I believe. But I believe this is also part of the humiliation ritual, which is what P. Diddy went through. So it's when you start to get a little bit too big for your boots, they like to bring you down a peg or two. And the humiliation ritual is all part and parcel and package of being in the club. So if we turn our attention to American Airlines, the first letter of the alphabet is A. So there's 2 A's. So you could look at that as 11, or you could look at that as double 1. So the first letter of the alphabet is A. American Airlines begins with A in American Airlines. Also, the 11th letter in the alphabet is K. When it comes to mysterious surroundings where people have lost their lives, this also happens in the UK, where you're told stories by the media and things don't add up. And when you speak to other people who are quite like-minded and open-minded, you believe that and understand and believe that people are on your same wavelength. So you're not alone out there. There are people out there that also pick this stuff up and notice stuff with regards to the numbers and letters. I do believe also with regards to Axel Ruda-Bacana, there was an 11 in there as well, and we know what he was. So that just goes to show you the number 11 relates to the letter K and what K stands for. So we'll move on to listen to some of the recordings from certain pilots and before the sad tragic accident happened between the helicopter and the plane. And you'll hear for yourself that one of the pilots actually states that there was 2 helicopters, not just 1. There's also been information on the internet, yet it's not been confirmed. The media have stated that there were 3 crew in the Black Hawk helicopter, the military helicopter. The speculation on the internet that this actually came from a Saudi Arabian embassy or residence, and it actually had an important person from Saudi Arabia on there. Now, how much of this is true, I don't know. Whether it actually ever be confirmed, we might not know. But it's just very interesting that that detail was put in there, and someone found this information out by tracing the flight logs of the helicopter before they then turned them off. So, like I said, it approached runway 33, Ronald Reagan Airport. Ronald Reagan was the 33rd president. And we'll listen to the pilot's recordings now.
5347 is
Where's the alert 3?
It is off the approach end of runway 33. Approach end of runway 33. Helicopter crash. Crash. This is alert 3. 2 helicopters.
So you can hear him say quite clearly there were 2 helicopters. They've also found now 3 black boxes recovered. So there's another 3 for you. The crash, we were told, happened in America at 9 p.m. In the UK, this time would have been 2:33 a.m. There was also 67 people who lost their lives, and 6 and 7 added together gives you the number 13. And there were 3 crew helicopter personnel. So there's just a list of numbers that we've mentioned at the beginning of the stream, which I've told you to look out for, and also in previous streams. And it popped up once again. Not only to mention the first letter of the alphabet being A, and American Airlines is AA. And the 11th letter of the alphabet is also K. And I believe, didn't the plane come from Kansas? So there's another interesting fact. So even I saw this post that someone had put out there with regards to the Washington and DC plane and helicopter crash. This was just a quick look at gematria. This is not something I cover myself. But if you are interested in this topic, you can head over to Zombieland Variants. He's the guy to go and see, who covers gematria, news, and crime.
Talking about.
So the next part of the video we're going to watch is someone who did some research into the flight path of the plane and also the helicopter. This was regards to the altitude that they were flying at the time, and how the helicopter actually ascended altitude in a very short period of time, almost pointing up to a 45-degree angle.
This and I'm going crazy, but I saw this for last night and I can't stop thinking about it. Okay, I if somebody can help me, please. The American Airlines flight was 350 feet in the air at 8:48, right before the crash. 350 feet. Keep that in mind. The Army helicopter, 3 seconds before that, 3 seconds, was 150 feet below the airplane. A helicopter shoot directly up. I would assume if they crashed, they would be on the same height in the air, the same trajectory, but they could have completely missed each other, no? And did it just shoot straight up directly into the fucking commercial airplane?
So I'll go to the comments a minute, because I will highlight Wiz has made a really good point. So she's asked, I was wondering if the helicopters or helicopter was remote controlled. It makes no sense why the helicopter didn't avoid the aeroplane. No, you're correct. Bearing in mind and considering the movability of a helicopter compared to a plane, yeah, you would have thought it doesn't make any logical sense at all. And then when you look at the numbers that are involved and the link and connection to the Super Bowl, it kind of goes beyond coincidental. But yeah, good question. Thank you for asking that. So you might ask what the question is and why these accidents are happening and so often, especially recently. I mean, we're only in 2025 and we're only on the 2nd of February. So we're literally a month and 1 day in, and we've had several disasters that have gone on. And they're surrounded by speculation and suspicion because the information that you're told doesn't add up. So what will it be to do with? Well, it might be to do with Agenda 2030 and the smart cities that they want to introduce, which is why we covered the LA fires in the last stream, and we showed you the railway track plans that they have for the smart city in LA. And when you overlap that to the path of the fires, of the LA fires that happened, they match up exactly. There's also a video that I stumbled across. I believe it goes back to about 1920s, I believe it might be. You have to have a look for yourself. Don't quote me on it. But there was actually a LA fires back then, and there was no water in the hydrants either. So it was exactly the same scenario and setup. I believe that was actually before Hollywood, the Hollywood Hills or Hollywood Studios were set up. I believe that may have been the reason for them wanting to buy up the land and then develop on it, which it seems like they're doing the same kind of process again. So if we look at Agenda 2030, sorry, the picture's not too great here. Basically what they're saying is that you will own nothing and everything will be on a subscription basis, including your vehicle, which also ties into why these accidents might be happening. Because the purpose of Agenda 2030 is to create these smart cities, or 15-minute cities, as everybody has heard about. This isn't just in the UK, this is worldwide. If you've looked in Dubai or United Arab Emirates, they're building a construction that's miles long. It's like a shopping mall, but it will be accommodation and everything that you need just in one place. So we'll look at the Philadelphia plane crash soon as well, and the numbers involved in that. And then we will look at why this is all going on and the purpose for it and what the agenda is behind and how it's linked and tied to not only Tesla, but also electric vehicles.
Do you think are impacted here?
Well, at the moment, we've got more than 1,100 flight delays, and at the moment, about 95 or so cancellations. That may change through the morning. Here's what we know. This is the computer system that's called NOTAM, it used to be called Notice to Airmen. Now it's called Notice of Air Missions. And the bottom line is, this is the computer system that pilots rely on to find out the latest information from the FAA on air safety, for example, on whether a runway is closed or
Just to pause quickly, in reference to the Super Bowl, Donald Trump's nickname is, he was nicknamed the Chief, is one of his nicknames he goes by. American Airlines, their plane's nickname is called the Eagles. And it just so happens that the Super Bowl, the two teams that will be playing each other are the Kansas City Chiefs, and they will be facing the Eagles. So you had an American Airlines plane that's nicknamed the Eagles that came down in Washington, D.C., where Donald Trump is, who has the nickname of the Chief. So I'll leave you to work that one out for yourselves. But if you take a look at the information on the screen in front of you, it will break down a bit more information of what I've just told you. There was a strange tweet put out as well 3 days previous. This was actually done by the same military that flew the helicopter. So, as I just referred to, the Kansas City Chiefs, they will be playing the Eagles, and this will be at the Super Bowl, which is also a very well-known ritual. For those that know, they know. So an American Eagle is the brand name for the regional airlines that's linked to American Airlines. Donald Trump's nickname is also known as the Commander-in-Chief. Donald Trump said that he will defend our country. Here's just a bit more information on the Super Bowl and also the nicknames of the Eagles and the Chiefs.
Am I political? But I am pretty fucking smart. And I know how to see things. Those of us who know, we know sports are fake. It's a big story, it's a big script. It's another story being told on the field. If you don't know what this last Super Bowl represents, let me help you out a little bit. The Eagles versus the Chiefs. What do those words mean to you? What does the word eagle mean to you? When I say eagle, what's the first thing you think of? Exactly. All right, lock it in. Now, when I say chief, what's the first thing you think of? Lock it in. Okay. Now, do the rest.
You expect me to believe that a Black Hawk helicopter collided with an American Airlines flight in DC's most modern and secure airspace. An American Eagle flight that was en route from Wichita, Kansas. Does anybody know about what's happening in Kansas right now? You know, a major Chiburki, you know what outbreak? Putting that aside, I just so happened to track the helicopter's path as well before you were unable to all of a sudden. And boy, did I discover a lot of very interesting information, but we'll get to that here in a second. Do you know how many Russians alone were on that flight? And do keep in mind, no one is believed to actually have survived that mid-air collision. But I really shouldn't have to say much more considering they were Russian personnel. Now let's do keep in mind, okay, there has been reported to be 3 US military personnel that were on board the helicopter. No names have been released as of yet, but this is the really interesting part. When you were able to track the helicopter's flight path, it just so happened to originate from a very specific address. Now, I'm not necessarily sure that I can name out an address on TikTok without receiving a violation, so I'm going to be putting it in the comment section below. But the current owners are the Embassy of Saudi Arabia. And when I noticed that, my instant reaction was, what? What is a Black Hawk helicopter doing taking off from that location? And does anybody remember the Las Vegas incident? Because if you don't, and you haven't gone down that rabbit hole already, I highly suggest that you do. Or you can watch one very specific video from an individual named Ian Carroll on X. You probably already know who he is. His name is Cancel This Clothing Company on TikTok. Because he actually did a full rundown on everything that you need to know about it. And if you watch that video, then you obviously know why I'm mentioning that incident. But there are numerous Saudi Arabian diplomats and scholars residing at that address. And like I stated, I'm going to be putting it in the comment section below so you can actually go check that out for yourself.
Y'all, something is not adding up about this crash that happened in Washington, D.C. Y'all need to take a listen to what this eyewitness said he seen before the crash happened. And then I'm going to tell you my input on why this is all suspicious. And once again, I want to give my condolence to everyone who was affected in this tragic event that happened last night at 9 p.m. But y'all, take a listen.
Tonight, I was just with my girlfriend at the park, at Gravelly Point Park, right next to Reagan National Airport, and we were eating dinner, you know, just as normal, taking a nice view. And
watch what you say, y'all.
The planes started having the regular patterns, and they all kind of dispersed from the regular landing patterns. And then we looked up in the sky before that, and we saw these white flare.
What do you think when you saw these white flares?
We didn't think much of it. We thought they were like shooting stars. I don't know. I couldn't really explain it, but.
So y'all heard what he said, right? It looked like shooting stars. So now I asked myself, I'm seeing the picture of the plane that crashed, but I was looking everywhere for the helicopter. I have yet to see any pictures of the helicopter that crashed into this airplane. So if someone's seen it, tag me in it, send it to my inbox or anything. I'm telling y'all, I have not seen the picture yet. And then, like I said, even if it was a helicopter, how does it happen?
We're all gonna die!
This is in the Potomac River. Runways have been shut down, departure landings have been halted at the DCA Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport near Washington, D.C.
FAA's diversity push includes focus on hiring people with severe intellectual and psychiatric disabilities.
Right, before we go any further, so Donald Trump's response to this tragic accident was to blame people with disabilities or people who are not mentally capable of making decisions for themselves. Now, I've spoke to a few people, my own friends and family, who've actually asked me with regards to what Donald Trump was trying to say here. For some reason, I don't know why, but they came across as they were confused, as Donald Trump wasn't actually identifying disabled people, but people of minority or colour, which isn't correct at all. He was actually addressing people with obviously disabilities or mental disabilities. So no, it was nothing to do with people of colour. It was to do with people who are disabled and people being in control of controlling planes, basically. But you'll see why the response from Donald Trump is so important, not because of what he's saying, but just with regards to the Simpsons predictions, which come next.
That is amazing. And then it says FAA says people with severe disabilities are most underrepresented segment of the workforce, and they want them in, and they want them, they can be air traffic controllers. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it's just the opposite.
And this doesn't appear to be an isolated incident. Just 24 hours before, another jet here was coming into Reagan Airport. It aborted its initial landing and had to go around again. Why did it do that? Well, a helicopter was once again traveling up the same river. You can see its path is here in orange, and it's going right in front of the passenger plane's approach in blue. The dotted line here shows its planned route.
So there was either two helicopters, or it was the same helicopter circling, looking for either a plane or someone on the plane. So I know this is a bit most of you have been waiting for. So we'll crack on with the Simpsons predictions.
The Simpsons predict multiple airplane destructions, eerily mirroring recent events. A Kazakh plane crashed in icy terrain. A Norwegian aircraft fell into a fjord. A Canadian plane exploded mid-air over a remote forest. And a South Korean jet plunged into the sea near its coastline. In one unforgettable episode, Springfield faces bizarre airplane disasters caused by escalating global tensions and technological failures, creating chaos in the skies. The striking parallels between this fictional scenario and real-life incidents send chills down our spines. Could this be another uncanny prediction from the show that often seems to foresee the future? As 2024 nears its end, these mysterious events raise unsettling questions. Coincidence or a subtle warning? The portrayal of a chain reaction of events in The Simpsons aligns uncomfortably with current developments, sparking fear and curiosity alike. Could these unexplained airplane disasters signify deeper issues in global tensions and technology, or is it just fiction?
This is Jason Martinez here in the Fox 20.
So I'll go back a minute because I think I might have missed a section of the video that also covers The Simpsons, because there's quite an important bit in there. So if I can find it, if not, it'll probably be at the end of the video, but I'm sure we'll cover it at some point. So yeah, so there have been, this was regards to 2024, but going into 2025, it seems the pattern of plane accidents has continued. When we go a bit further on, it will kind of come a bit more clearer as to what I said and the Agenda 2030 as to why these accidents might be happening. So we also had the Philadelphia plane accident that happened on the 1st of February. So there's another one for you. This happened at 7 minutes past 6 in the evening PM, and 6 plus 7 equals 13. Philadelphia's also got 11 letters in it. And the whole date as well is the 1st of February 2025, which equals 12, and 1 and 2 equals 3. So there's your 3 as well. So you've got 13, 3, 1, and also 11 in that one as well. The reports were that this was a plane that was on fire and fell out of the sky. But when you watch the CCTV footage, it actually looks like something's it's not falling at free fall rate. It's actually being projected, which means it's got some thrust behind it, which would not signify a plane, because a plane would tumble and fall out of the sky. It wouldn't necessarily come down at nearly a 45-degree angle, and it certainly wouldn't come down with such force.
crash in Northeast Philadelphia. This is doorbell camera provided by a viewer. Left of your screen, you saw the fireball come out of the sky. Again, this is being described to us as a plane crash, Northeast Philadelphia, in the area of Bustleton and Cotman Avenues. You saw the left of your screen, the fireball come right out. Take another closer look. There. And so this just happening here in the last 20 minutes or so. Again, Northeast Philadelphia. And so a lot of viewers have been calling our newsroom and telling us that they believe this was a plane crash in this area of Bustleton and Cotman. But this doorbell camera video makes you question exactly what we're seeing. Here's a closer look. And really, I can only describe that as a fireball that falls out of the sky. And again, this is Roosevelt Mall, I believe, the parking lot in Northeast Philly. And this is ground video that we're just getting in. You're seeing it as I am seeing it. Police taping the area off, smoke and debris in this area. And this, of course, all happening as we are still sorting through a plane crash that happened in D.C. No word on the size of the plane that crashed, what caused it. We are just learning this.
Jason, I was just warned. I'm fairly close. I was nearby. This happened at 6 o'clock. I got it confirmed by 6:13 and 6:14. And then a top commander in the department told me his house shook. He called the bomb squad, and they told him a plane had crashed. Then lots of calls came in. I was nearby. I saw everybody racing over here. I raced with them. I'm looking at two fires going right now on Cotman Avenue. I'm standing in one of the driveways to the Roosevelt Mall. As I ran over here, I parked in the McDonald's at Cotman and the Boulevard. I wondered what I was tripping over, and it was pieces of an airplane scattered in the mall parking lot. They then began roping that off, and the heavy smell of jet fuel is in the air and has been in the air. There is still black smoke. The fires are not under control, and then an officer just told me to take cover behind the police and fire vehicle on there because there's a gas line nearby. Another commander told me cars were on fire. This was in rush hour. I know it because I was just on Cotman Avenue seconds before this, approaching the Boulevard when this plane crashed. So it was wall-to-wall cars approaching Cotman and the Boulevard, so people were stopped in traffic. I don't know if cars are on fire in front of me or parts of the plane, but it looks like multiple fires, and the fires are not right next to each other. They're a good 100 yards from each other. So there is a string of damage and a string of fires. This mall is under some kind of construction, so they have a tarp around about a 6-foot-tall tent. Every police officer, every fire department member in the city must be up here right now, and there's still more coming on the way. There is so much smoke in the air going right over the mall right here, and this mall was packed too. They had to move all the people back for their own good, and the air quality is not good for them, but everybody was out here. Now I can see one car I'm looking through the fence, Jason. I'm looking down in front of the Dunkin' Donuts on Cotman, and again, this is right before the Boulevard. Right in front of the Dunkin' Donuts, it looks like an SUV is on fire, and the flames are all through the street. And there's so many fires here, and the fire department's also trying to worry about that gas line that's in danger. Now I'm counting the fires, Jason. 1, 2, 3, 4 fires I can see right here, all spread out along Cotman Avenue right now. Steve, I can't see what's burning.
Steve, we are looking at viewer doorbell camera of what looks like just a fireball falling out of the sky. And as this plane hits the ground, just flames just immense. And we see a shot now on the ground. We see, looks like some cars are on fire here. You say you smell jet fuel?
Yeah, I can still smell it. There's a smell of fuel in the air, a heavy smell. And if they're reporting a fireball falling out of the sky, the parts of the airplane I saw were not burned. And again, we're near Northeast Philly Airport. It would be an unreal coincidence if there was another midair collision here. I don't know, but and I didn't see any fireball in the sky.
Airplane crash there on Roosevelt Boulevard. He says fires burning in multiple spots on Cotman Avenue. He says pieces of airplane scattered there on the ground.
Okay, folks, show's over. Nothing to see here. Show's... Oh, my God! A horrible plane crash! Hey, everybody, get a load of this flaming wreckage! Come on, crowd around. Crowd around. Don't be shy. Crowd around.
Even the Simpsons predicted the Philadelphia one. There is another video clip. I thought I might have put it in there, but I haven't. So what I will do is once I come off the live, I'll actually put that piece of the Simpsons prediction in a short for you, so you can watch that, so you won't miss that part at all. That's actually quite important because it refers to the Washington DC helicopter and plane crash, and it states it's over a river as well, exactly the same. So I will put that in for you in a short once I get off of here. But I hope you've enjoyed the stream. I hope you enjoyed the videos and also the content. If you're new here and you haven't already, smash subscribe. If you've enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and share it with your friends. I will let you in on a little secret that I have been very busy the past week working on a new project with regards to the channel, which you'll be pleased to hear. Hopefully I should be done by the end of next week, and things need to be tested first over the weekend, and then after that I should be ready to go public with it. And it's going to absolutely blow your mind. So yeah, thank you very much for tuning in. If you haven't already and you want to learn more about numerology astrology, I do have a Breaking the Matrix numerology astrology book out that is available on Amazon if you'd like to grab yourself a copy. If you struggle finding it, please drop me a message in the comments and I'll get back to you, or I will put the link underneath after I get off the live stream. So once again, thank you to Wiz, Exotic Doll, Betty Boo, Gail Hale, and the rest of you for watching. I have been Mr. Freemason. Until next time, and tomorrow's live, if you're interested into ancient history, the clones and famous celebrities, then I will put a post up for that and also an advertisement for the stream. Until then, take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next live. I'm out of here.